Hey, good morning, Patriots. Good to see you. It's the 9/11 anniversary. 23 years ago today, radical Islamists, aided by a bunch of folks who I guess were incompetent. I guess that's the way to put it politely. Were able to penetrate the defenses of the United States to conduct the greatest terrorist attack in the history of the United States, knocking down the Twin Towers and hitting the Pentagon. We want to first off remember the fallen today. A lot of us were called to duty after the attack and served the next 20 years going after the folks who perpetrated that. And I want to honor those who died that day, those who have served after to work to bring justice to the families of the 9/11 fallen, and all of those who continue to seek to protect the United States from those types of events. So always remember, never forget. So we have to take a moment to think about those who did that, and it's important to always do what's necessary to protect the American people and the Constitution and the Republic, despite whatever politics come up. And I think that's what most of us take the oath of office to do. So God bless those who died that day. God bless the families who have to remember them, and let us work as a nation to continue to figure out what exactly happened that day, because I'm not convinced the 9/11 report was truthful. And I think we would probably all agree on that. With that said, another thing I agree upon is the best sidekick in the business, the guy who runs the show, really. I just show up and try, to look like I know what I'm doing. Chris Cordani. Chris, good morning.
Yes, but you're the handsome one. That's the whole thing. I'm still with the Steve Bannon haircut, by the way. I'm keeping it like this until the man is freed. The man should be freed. That's it.
Yeah, he should. So are you on a hunger strike too? Because you look pretty like you need to be eating more.
Well, yes, actually, I'm trying to become more fit. You did give me a good regimen off the air one day. I for
It
To
works.
share with
It
our friends
works.
here, I had detached retinas, so I can't lift heavy weights anymore. So I have to stay under
Well,
300 pounds when I bench press. Yeah,
well,
okay.
that's good. Well, no Roseanne bar for you then. I'm telling you.
No, no, not at all. By the way, from now on, I'm going to start doing this when you talk. This way, you note that I'm thinking at the same time,
Well,
because
I noted that
it's a
last night
nice.
when she. So I want to comment on that because I'm going to talk about it later. I have my 3 Ds that I actually talked about on air last night and two, and I'm going to talk about it today. One of
Okay.
them is demeanor. Do you think she has the demeanor to be the president? I'm
I
serious. I mean, if
I
you're
do
sitting
not.
there looking like, and you're in the room with President Al Sisi, with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and you're
Or
sitting there trying to negotiate. Do you think that that face is going to be one of those that, oh yeah, she's just a bitch. No, we just got to let that go. Do you
or
think they aren't gonna do that? They aren't going to do that. So I found that, and by the way, I said this last night. I said again. Tulsi Gabbard would never have shown those emotions on stage. She would have probably looked if she were debating Donald Trump. And I've said this publicly. I think she's the only candidate that could have beat Donald Trump. Just saying, fairly beat Donald Trump.
RFK may
Anyway,
have.
maybe, but I'm saying that even in the worst circumstance of debate, you would never see those like snarky, snide faces coming from Harris. And you know why she did it? Because she had nothing. If you look back on what she actually said, it's very, very vacuous. So anyway, back to you, Chris.
Well, snark is
But
no substitute for intelligence, and
no,
people are going to be learning that over the next few weeks. Snark is fun. It's great for social media.
it is.
All the emotional types were on my social media feed, going, "Oh, she's wiping the floor with him. She's so wonderful. Oh my God, she's beating
Wow.
Trump." It was 3-on-1 the whole thing. We could talk about
Yeah,
all that, but
we will.
her demeanor. Let's go for your first D. That demeanor, her superior thought look, or the smirks, or the cackling. Yes, there was cackling, but there was no hot mic, so you couldn't hear it. Yeah, I saw it. I
Yeah.
just it was it was embarrassing. Could you imagine her with this? By the way, who the hell is President Xi anyway? That's she kept
Chia
mentioning
Pet,
President.
President Chia Pet.
She was mentioning
It's
President
like that.
Xi for a
You
while.
get those things, and you put the seeds on them, and it grows green. So it's Chia Pet, President
Oh,
Chia Pet.
they got
She
that
must have
idea from
had one as
Al
a kid.
Yeah, they got that idea from Al King. Remember the boxing promoter, remember?
Yeah, I remember. No, and Trump was friends with him too. The
Yeah,
big hair guy. He was more like a, what do you call those guys that had their hands out and the big fuzzy hair? They were like little
Democrats?
dolls.
Oh,
Oh,
wait,
that's
well, those are
too.
the trolls, I'm sorry. You said hands
Trolls.
out, and I immediately thought Democrats, so,
Trolls.
yeah,
Well, they have their hands out. Yes.
uh, but
All right.
yeah, that's something I noticed about her. There are a lot we noticed about her, but the worst of it all was that the 3-on-1 action.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Now, I mean, Kamala Harris may have, endured some of that when she was up and coming, but that might be a different kind of 3-on-1 action. This, on the other hand, is, was another one of those debates where and this has been tradition from at least 2008 onward.
Yeah.
Candy Crowley on forward, where the debate moderators, uh, make themselves part of the story, and they try to go after the Republican.
Yeah. Well, some of the folks in chat are saying she was nasty, yelling and nasty, and that's true. She was yelling and nasty. And I, Chris, do you have any confirmation? I understand that she had the smell of brimstone following her as well. It like eggs. Yes, sour eggs. Is that true? Did you hear that? I mean, it's like it's hard to concentrate when it smells like sulfur in the studio. Just
Well, that would mean that Tim Walz was hiding behind that elevated
ah,
podium she had. Was she isn't she like 5'2"? How the heck did she get about as tall as, Donald Trump? I
well, she had like Elton John, extended sole shoes on. It's
it
like pinball wizard.
right. It's the magic of editing, the magic of framing. That's exactly how it works.
She's the pinball wizard. Just ask Willie Brown.
Oh. She doesn't really even play
Just
that mean of a
ask.
pinball. She couldn't even play Space Invaders, but that's a di
Oh yeah, she
she'd get
plays it
upset pretty quick.
again. You need to ask Willie Brown about the pinball play. I'm just telling you. I know these things.
Well, I decided to reread See Spot Run, by the way, because
Oh yeah.
it did contain her, in fact, it did contain her, her economic plan. The funny thing with the whole thing, Trump had the best zingers. He
Well, and then also she interrupted him 3 times. Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Yep.
That was great when he got her on that, and she was like,
Yeah, she was and well, we could play that right. Let's play that right
"Yeah,
now
we
because
should."
that's actually a fun clip. You know that she wanted the hot mic. It was very important for,
Oh yeah.
first off, it was very important for her campaign not to have the hot mic. That was it. That was the big she wanted the Biden rule. So let's make that clear. She wouldn't debate more than once. She was afraid to go on Fox. She was afraid to go on NBC. Was NBC was the next one after that? But
Right.
she wanted the ABC debate under the Biden
Oh yeah.
rules. Then she realized without the hot mic, she can't have her "I'm speaking" moment.
Right.
Well, she apparently did. Somebody else had it too.
Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever.
You know what
She
happened?
gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please.
Look at that.
Sounds familiar. Oh, I look at that. She's like, oh yeah. She for to her credit, she was first she had that superior, like, oh my God, I can't. But then she like laughed and said, oh, you got me on that one. That's what it looks like. I can respect that. Oh, you got me on that one. But all that
Yeah.
the superior faces she makes, that appeals to her base. You ever
Yeah.
go on social media and you've gone on Twitter and debated these idiots? They sit
Oh
there,
yeah.
they're so much smarter than you and superior only because they think to the left. Which
That's why I always get them suspended by getting them so upset that they actually make a threat of physical violence and they get suspended. Just saying.
Dunning
They always
Kruger.
do it.
Dunning Kruger.
They
If
always
anybody doesn't know Dunning Kruger, look it up, and that's your self-righteous leftist on social media.
Yeah. Well, so that picture right there you just had, Chris, it was just like most of the debate. Trump was focused,
Yes,
getting the
stoic.
business done. And this is the only thing I'll say. I think he left some stuff on the table. He could have done more. He could have been a lot more aggressive, but I think he held back to make it look like he wasn't going to beat up on a woman.
Right.
I guess she's a woman, right? Can you I can't define what a woman is, right? I don't think they can.
They don't know
So,
either. But
yeah,
and you're 100% right on this. Donald Trump was right to be stoic. He was right not
yeah.
to smile and laugh at her. He did a
Don't
few
give in.
times,
Yeah, don't
but
take the bait.
he took the bait sometimes. All right, well, let's give him.
Not much.
She got well again. You're losing you're 3 against 1. You're not losing the debate, but
Yeah.
you're in
Oh, yeah.
you're in a potentially losing situation. And not only were you 3 against 1, you knew that the 1 or 2 slip ups you make will be the ones highlighted by every leftist news organization and every mainstream news organization to frame the debate as a Harris victory. And that bar
Yeah.
was set so low for Harris that her
Right.
less than mediocre performance made her look like she did pretty well.
Well,
But
let's talk about that real quick. Now, so let's go back. We're going to have some folks joining us this morning. Oh, we didn't tell the Patriots. We got 2 special guests this morning, don't we?
yes, we do. We have
Yeah.
2 of our favorite people are going to be on. And as we know, we all love Angie, who's coming on in just a few moments.
Angie Wong is coming. That's right. Oh, I got to get something. She sent me something. Don't tell
Oh,
her I got it. I'll
and
surprise her
I
on
won't
the air.
tell her, but I won't tell her. Then you also have Susan Olson, who's coming in today, and
Susan
she's coming
Olsen
at
from
that
the
halftime. Yes.
Brady Bunch.
Yep.
So,
And she has several podcasts. She of course KABC back in a bunch of years ago before she got censored, if you will.
yeah.
So we're gonna have
Yeah,
a blast
you think
talking about this debate.
Well, can we get her to say Russia, Russia, Russia?
Maybe we will. Maybe she'll do it.
Hold on one second. I gotta get something.
All right. While we're at it, I want to do another thing. I want to show all you guys something that I enjoyed too. As far as the zingers are concerned, uh,
Yeah.
one of my favorites was when uh, I like See Spot Run, but this probably was a little bit better when talking about economic policy.
Then Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore.
True.
because
I was actually fact checking that at the time.
They
He was
have
completely correct.
like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat.
See, another great
That's
zinger,
true.
and she did it without smirking and smiling. He
Got a
did it
MAGA
without
hat
smirking
here,
and
yeah.
smiling. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to send her a MAGA hat. He did it stoically. He did it right. The pragmatists believe Trump won. The emotionalists, I believe, think Harris won.
All right. Well, let me hit that real quick before I go to my 3Ds and bring in Angie. By the way, so he should send her one of these trucker hats, or it's a more. I think the tan color would go with her like ever-changing skin color, right? You know,
And
and by the way,
accents,
I
by
think
the way.
I think he played that correctly. It's like I don't care what color she is. I don't care. I think
Right.
that took the wind out of that sail. It's like, yeah, I don't care.
But
Did you
it's
say that?
fun.
Yeah, maybe.
But that was a loaded question again from the
It was,
moderators.
of course.
Well, we didn't. I
Well,
don't
they
care.
meant
I
that's
don't
what they
care
were
what he
trying
thinks.
to do. Yeah,
Right,
it's like I don't care.
Right,
I don't care.
what he thinks about
I
the
think
race.
that was the right answer. It's like I don't care what color she is. I don't
Yeah.
care what color she wants to be.
Right. January 6th happened 3 years ago. Yes, he has the right to question
Right.
the 2020 election. That's not even
Right.
substance.
Well, let me hit that real quick. So first, let me make this very clear because I opened with a tribute to the families and the fallen of 9/11.
And I'll go thinking here.
So for Kamala Harris to make the comparison of the 6th January attack to the 9/11 attack is insane. There is no other way to describe it. The fact that we had people literally jumping out of buildings to their deaths for purposes of the issue of what happened to them, and having her then make fun and diminish that, and compare the fact that we had a guy who took a podium and sat at Nancy Pelosi's office in her chair, rifled through her papers, found her stash of vodka. All those things happened, and okay, yeah, but nobody died except for Ashley Babbitt, which Trump correctly pointed out. And by the way, they didn't correct her on that. Remember, she said, "Oh, well, there are officers, 140 officers injured, and officers died that day." They didn't fact check her, did they, Chris?
No,
They
they
did not
didn't
fact
fact check her at all. They didn't fact check her on several things. Let's get
Like,
into that after you're done.
no, it's like the Muir should have. If Muir was a man, which I think he's a Tim Walz kind of Tinkerbell man, just saying, nothing wrong with that. If you want to be Tinkerbell, go knock yourself out.
More like
But
a
my
Chuck
point
Todd.
being, my point being is if you're going to be the guy who stands up and tries to challenge Trump, you need to challenge that little lady on the other podium there when she says things like, "Oh, officers died that day." They didn't die that day. The
Right.
next day, one of the Capitol Hill police died from an aneurysm in his brain. It was a pre-existing condition nobody knew about. and then two other officers committed suicide. That has no link to the events of that day directly. You can't blame Donald Trump for people committing suicide. And they kept getting him to try to say he did something wrong. It's like, no, I offered him National Guard folks. They turned him down. I don't know what else they wanted. That was the right answer. And I don't think he emphasized that enough. And they wouldn't let him anyway. It's not his fault. But let me go on real quick before we bring Angie in. Real quick. The 3Ds. I think Kamala Harris fails the test of national security for 3Ds. And they had nothing to do with anything other than her personal conduct on stage. First, demeanor. Chris, we've talked about this.
Right.
Do you really believe Vladimir Putin? And by the way, she made an interesting disclosure. 3 days before the war with Ukraine started, I was trying to convince people, and I was out meeting with Vladimir. It's like
failure.
Well, I'm sitting there. It's like, how do you not knock that out of the Trump? I mean, to knock that out of the park, Trump, right. President Trump. I mean, holy cow, she's admitting that she was the last person in the room before the failure of Ukraine.
Right. Like, she basically was one could argue she was the catalyst.
She was, yeah. So I was like, we're going to do a Hail Mary by sending Kamala over and hoping for the best. Oh, that was a great policy. Yeah. Anyway, my point being, her demeanor, she does not have the demeanor of a statesman. A statesman is what's required to be effective on the international stage. Is Trump getting people's face? Absolutely. But Kamala, the way she does it, it's more like a cackling mess of, well, she's got that Stalin like superior look, which I don't think goes over well. Just saying. Anyway, so that's the first D. Second D is decisiveness. Clearly, there's no decisiveness in this administration, in that the people who actually failed on the Afghan withdrawal, they're still there. So as Trump said, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about, Trump said, look, I'm different because I fired people. I actually did the hard thing. And yeah, he says, sometimes I fired them in ways I didn't like. Sometimes I did it publicly, but they were bad. I got rid of them. So she does not have any decisiveness to do anything. They will pile on the dead wood of failure and just keep going, which they have. So she's not. Decisiveness is another failed D. And the dystopian, Chris, she constantly tried to rewrite history or pretend she wasn't like part of it. It's like, oh yeah, I support Joe Biden's policies, like regarding Afghanistan. It's like, you were there in the room. You admitted that you actually were the person. So it's kind of like she's trying now to be, well, yeah, I kind of supported it, but it wasn't mine. It's hers. So those are the 3Ds I observed of her horrific behavior. And it's hard to call her out and pin her down because she lies. And the moderators did nothing to fact check anything she said on any of these issues. So
they were on orders.
My rant.
But they were on orders from the boss, George Stephanopoulos. Go after Trump, go easy on Kamala. That's basically what the idea was.
Oh, yeah.
She knew it going in. That's why that's the only debate she wasn't afraid to go on.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Angie.
Hi, good morning, guys. We had a late night last night watching that debacle, didn't we? I try to stay away from watching a lot of news this morning for commentaries.
Me too.
Only because you saw it, I saw it. We could spin room this all we want. Ultimately, it was a horrible debate. I did not enjoy that at all. I actually couldn't wait for it to end.
It was okay.
So,
it was
but Angie, I want to get your kind of read, because I purposely did not watch any of the coverage this morning. Not even Newsmax. I haven't even looked at Newsmax stuff. I just kind of wanted to be isolated till we got on air. And I went through my 3Ds of Kamala Harris's failure: demeanor, decisiveness, and dystopian. She was horrible demeanor. I think the way she would always kind of have this Joker smile, kind of that Joker, Jack. What was it? The one with
Joker. The Joker.
The Jack. What's his name? My God, Jack, the guy with the. Oh my God!
I'm trying to think now.
Reacher?
Come on, Jack.
Jack Tripper.
You can't handle the truth.
Tripper.
Jack.
Oh, Jack Nicholson.
Jessup, Colonel Jessup, right? That's what it was.
No, but he was the Joker in the original Batman.
Yeah.
And
Well,
she always had that Joker look. And
Uh-huh.
secondly, the decisiveness clearly is like, yeah, I mean, nobody's been fired. And Trump made that point. It's like, yeah, I fire people. I don't, I don't hold back. And then dystopian, it's like, and Trump got is like, you're acting like you haven't been in office for the past 3 years. It's like, why don't you do this stuff
Mm,
now? So what do
yeah.
you think? Do you think Trump made the effective closing by saying she's in office? Why she could do that now? There he is. That's the
Yeah.
look she had. Yeah.
I'm going to be a bit of a Debbie Downer today, probably
Okay.
because it's 9/11. I'm reliving a lot of trauma right now.
Yeah,
But
I've opened the show with that.
I'll tell you something. I actually don't think Trump did very well. I know that goes against the party line. I know I'm supposed to spin room this to his favor, but I'll tell you, he was ill prepared for what happened last night. And I want him to learn from this because you know what? He's done so well for all these years now campaigning. He's allowed one night where he kind of, I know the forces were against him. He was ill prepared because I think his team is afraid to tell him what's up. Whereas Kamala's team, they really prepared her. I mean, over prepared her and also helped her some, right? We know that we're seeing all the stuff today. Um, I don't want to scapegoat her and say, oh, well, you've been hearing the theory that she's wearing the pearl earring that's whispering in her ear. You're hearing that,
I
the
saw that.
moderators were, you saw the moderators were helping her out whenever they
The
could.
moderators did help her out.
Yeah, we saw all that. But Trump should have known going in that that was all going to happen,
Yeah.
right? And his team did not prepare him. What he ended up doing what I saw was the prosecutor and the defendant. He spent the entire 90 minutes defending himself
That's
and
true.
acting on the defense rather than acting like a world leader, like a commander in chief. That's where I was like, where are you going with this, Trump? Do not take the bait. He took the bait. And that's where I wish he was more prepared to know that they were going to bait him. They were trying to bring out the rally Trump, the one that, spills out all the stuff that liberals hate to hear. That's like, nails on a chalkboard kind of talking points. And he went there. And
Yeah.
also he started talking about himself, about how great he is, how bigly he is, and all the wonderful things he is. No, policy, policy, policy. He did
It
not
was light
stick
on
on
policy. I
message.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
there
that's
were
where they baited
some
him.
there were
I
some good points as far as his policy, but you're right. He did take the bait a few times, and that is true. But again, I don't think his performance is bad. I would say it's mediocre and lackluster. The bar was set high for him and low for her, which made it look a little better and worse on each of those sides. Still, I believe a lot of us came out of the debate, like you said, thinking that it could have been a lot better.
yeah,
Well,
and
I agree with Angie. You're correct. I mean, he seemed like he was always on the defensive. He didn't have that kind of snappy like the one of the most brilliant lines in the last debate with Joe Biden was, "I don't know what he said. I don't think he knows what he said," and it was very subtle, very down to earth. And I think he had some opportunities where he could have done that with her. He just didn't do it. He did. He left. I think he left a lot of bets on the table he could have taken. Joe, just saying. So.
yeah,
Can
yeah.
I ask you both a question on that one? Now, I appreciate the fact that he was stoic and didn't get too emotional for most of the debate. He did, as I said, he did say some of that bait. If he got emotional, things would have gotten worse. There are a couple factors to what he did and why. And I want to get into that, but I want to see what both of you think about it. First off, if he was a little over anxious and dumped on her as much as he probably could have, he would be perceived as bullying a woman because she's very good at playing that victim card. Hillary Clinton was not good at playing the victim card. Kamala Harris, that's her career. Basically, that's what it is. Secondly,
Right.
the two or three things that he says that would be really mean, aside from the zingers aren't going anywhere, but the things that he said that might have been perceived as mean or bullying, those would be highlighted and posted on every left wing and mainstream news network. And those would be considered the highlights of the debate. And people who didn't watch it or barely paid attention would get the impression Kamala stuck to the issues while Trump jumped on her and was very emotional. I don't think he has the temperament to become president. So I believe his handlers told him, you can do impromptu all you want, but don't attack her too much or else you'll look real bad. But thoughts?
Hmm.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? Yeah, no. Trump had to know his audience there, right? His audience was generally it's not even just us. A lot of them were Democrats, and he
Yeah.
should have known that. and a lot of them were females. He should have known that. All her facial movements, they were all rehearsed. She was they were all pulled,
Yes,
reversed.
every one
She
of
was
them.
reading from a script. That's when you could see like her speech patterns would click every once in a while in weird pauses. It's because she was trying to remember the script, or maybe she was being fed the script. I don't know. But she was certainly like well rehearsed,
And the
and she
hand
was not going to
motions.
deviate from that.
Right, the hand motions too.
Well,
You saw she was on a roll when she was talking about abortion. She was on a roll when she was going off with the same things Joe Biden said, by the way,
yeah,
about
exactly.
the
She
very fine
copied.
people hoax,
He was right. Well,
the bloodbath
let me hit
hoax.
that.
Right.
So let me hit that, Chris, because you asked a question about
Isn't that what Willie Brown said?
Well, Willie Brown said a lot of
Let
things.
me
I
hit
think he
that.
was talking about playing pinball too, but you didn't want to talk about that earlier, so we'll leave that alone. But
Sorry, Edgy.
but no, she had the pinball wizard. What's that? Those lyrics? I think we should do a parody song of the Pinball Wizard and put it about pinball, about her and Willie Brown. That would be
I like that. We can do that.
Anyway, my point.
Anyway.
I'm trying to get to the point of where we're talking about how she did try to get some points in against Trump, and she failed miserably at least 3 times. First, 2025. It's like I don't know how many times it was like he said I'm not part of it, and she kept trying to bring it up. It's clearly not true, but she did it again anyway. Another Joe Biden point. Secondly, I think she lost big time on abortion. They kept trying to pin him down to this national abortion ban. It's like, no, I mean, I did my job. I give it back to the states.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you feel about that, Angie, but I think he's very clear. It's like, no, I don't believe in a ban, but I think the states need to determine kind of what they need, what's best, and have that debate and discussion. And she kept going back, and they asked her directly. Listen, I'll give him credit on this. David Muir did ask her directly, would you support abortion up to the time of birth? And she refused to answer and just said, I want to return Roe versus the Roe ruling. So I thought that was very good for women who needed to see it. What do you see, Angie? Because that's something to me, that was policy heavy right there.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was good coordinating of Kamala Harris, but at the same time, I didn't realize she's a better prosecutor than I thought. She knew what she could say and what she couldn't say. She stuck within the parameters. Trump being Trump, you know what I missed out of yesterday's debate? Trump, the entertainer. He could have taken that and like elevated it to the point where he owned the airwaves today, right? Do you remember what he said? Because I don't. And we just watched it a few hours ago. It was so forgettable. His entire performance was forgettable. And that's not Trump at all.
Well, except for the thing about the what was that book?
C-Spot Run.
C-Spot Run.
And of course, the Give Her a MAGA Hat and I'm speaking. He took the I'm speaking moment, which is actually pretty good. I want to give you something here. Muir did that token fact check on her, Angie. Yes, the token fact check. He didn't bother with anything else, but he did try to jump on Trump about the accusation about babies being late-term abortions and laws in certain states where babies can be killed after birth.
He was right about the
California Assembly Bill 2223, signed by Gavin Newsom into law, would do away with requirements for a coroner to investigate deaths related to or following suspected self-induced or criminal abortions in the state of California. Also, it would remove the requirement in state law that let's see, what was that? It would hinder law enforcement's abilities to investigate and prosecute infanticide the first week. Basically, the parent's not responsible for what happens to the baby right after the pregnancy or around the pregnancy.
For a whole week.
The law says you can do that in California. And Muir lied. Muir lied.
No.
So,
yes,
go ahead, Angie.
No, I would have said so. Look, Trump, as Corey Lewandowski says, let Trump be Trump. He was neither Trump or whatever that was yesterday. It was like a defensive Trump. I get it. Okay, fine. But if Trump were Trump, I would almost feed some outrageous lines that were almost comical just to let him elevate his personality. It enrages his base and it enrages the Democrats. I would have said something like, yeah, the abortion thing. I know a few Democrats who would have benefited from being aborted or something crazy like that, right? Just to like have a moment. He had no he was like almost flat the entire time.
Well, let me ask a question. Two questions. First, do you think that they should go ahead and go for the October debate with Team Kamala?
Yes, I think so. Here's why.
I think so too.
Look, all of it was controlled. We get it. There's a blame game happening today. Even last night, they were putting out memes like 3 persons against 1. Okay, forget all that. Trump can hold his own. You know Trump can hold his own. He was just given a lot of bad advice. He thought it was going to be Joe Biden part 2, which is why he was ill prepared.
His opponent.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and
my
now
second,
he knows.
Yeah. So my second question, did you send me this?
You got your mysterious package. Yes.
Oh, it's in
I figured it was
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
I like it.
I figured it's like, oh, I think I knew who said this.
I know.
Isn't that great? Hey, folks. Yeah. So Angie sent me this because I'm running for office here in Chihuahua County. You know, so
Thank you. Well, I would love to see you wearing that on the campaign trail.
I will.
I threatened to come up there to put some yard signs up for you. I was like, do I send them a box of yard signs or do I do that for them?
I'm going to send you some signs. No, I had to get 40 more because I went through 30 like that. It's like they were gone.
Don't give it away to me. Put it all over your district.
No, I got them. I got and well, I need to do some more fundraising because signs are expensive. I had no idea they're that expensive. These things are pricey.
Well,
oh my God!
I believe you can hold a barbecue fundraiser as long as there's some cats, dogs, and some geese running around, right? So there we go.
So is that the new meal? Is that Haitian jerk cat? Is that what they make now?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that's right.
I hated
Speaking of cats, there's Susan. Good morning, Susan. Who has cats just like I do. Yes.
And I want to go into this. I want to go into this.
Well, she's got Sphinx cats. Susan's got Sphinx cats.
Ooh, let's see.
Yes. Yes, she does.
Come on, Bella.
Yeah.
Oh, this is another.
Hi.
Good morning, Susan.
Here comes Bella. She hears the sound of men and come here, little girl. Hello.
There's Bella.
Oh, that's a cute cat.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah. I bring Teddy. He'd bark at everybody.
Yes.
Take off your...
So there you go.
He's gonna get more naked.
Since we have Susan here, Angie, Tony, we've been joking about this for a couple of days now. I want to get into this another mirror debate against Donald Trump, where he basically tells you flat out, well, maybe you saw this on television and you saw photos of what's happening, but a government official who happens to be a Democrat told me that it's the opposite. So I'm taking that as the word of God. And that was his debate argument against Donald Trump.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed.
I reached out to the propaganda minister. They said you're wrong.
In the immigrant community.
So we're taking that as the word of God.
People on television say my dog was taken, and
but he's going on.
I called the Pope and he said that God hates you.
Right. So here's the funny thing. I've been a broadcast journalist for a long time. Even in local news, I made sure when some politician told me something or I saw a press release, I had to corroborate it or check in with some things or find out what the real story was. This is simple. These people are wealthy. They could send a crew down there to find out what's going on. No. What Muir did and what ABC did was take the word of a propagandist, a government official.
Propagandist, exactly.
Who's protecting the Democrats there and the Democrats running and saying, oh, no, the politician said it. And I agree with them, so it's the word of God.
Well, and ABC's part of the propaganda. I mean, we know what side ABC is on. It was very clear from the debate.
No,
but Trump
absolutely.
shouldn't have gone there. because that's one of those stories that's going to get debunked. Simply because, the point is not, it's like, I wish he would stop saying, and they're sending in people, who are criminals and from insane asylums. No, just they're sending in people who are unvetted, because nobody can argue that.
Right.
You don't have to go to the superlatives, Donald.
Well, I think, Susan, one of the things he should have said, and this is where I wish I could have been debating, if you're listening,
Right.
especially
that's
Ed.
true, because
I
they
know
can
Ed
take what he
listens.
says and
Ed,
while he
what he should have said is that, look, no matter how you feel about it, they're doing three things. They're devaluing the value of labor. Anybody who works in this country, you bring in people who are unvetted, to your point, Susan, are willing to work for less. You lower the value of labor. Secondly, then you destroy unions. The left always talks about unions. You are literally the biggest union buster in the nation by bringing in people who will take jobs who are not union. Third, and most importantly, you're creating a permanent underclass who you want to have here to vote you into office indefinitely. Those 3 points would have made the point without having to talk about, the cat being eaten down the block. Just saying.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and what I'd love to see somebody do is say, what was the purpose? Well, I mean, what is their politically correct official reason for opening the border? Have they ever given us one?
No. Well,
no.
We know, but they're not going to say it, Susan.
Well, of course not. So see her go, she would sound like Nancy Pelosi.
Who would do that better, Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris? She was shaking her head yesterday when Donald Trump accused her of being the border czar.
I know.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And on her stupid voters, they'll go,
Yeah. Oh, and that superior act of theirs too on social media.
No, I still think she looks like Jack Nicholson in the Joker.
Right.
I think you put that makeup on her, she looks like Jack Nicholson.
Lipstick on a pig. The thing I'm most mad at Trump for is that he has he's made her voters look less stupid. I mean, she looks,
I don't know. That's
credible.
I don't know about that.
Not to us, but to most
them.
people
I get it.
Don't
Yeah, you're right.
Follow anything. Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Yeah,
that have rallied around her for no reason at all.
All right,
now
Susan,
have a reason.
Right. So, Susan, I'm going to ask you both this question because Sean Parnell said this on the air a few weeks ago when he was on the show here with us. And he said, this is going to be an election of the bases. And his theory is, and this goes to your point, Susan, this was more about trying to convince her base that she's righteous. She's the cool chick that you need to go and show up for. So, and Angie, the same thing to you. I'm going to ask you both to speak on it. But Sean says it's not about trying to convince those of facts and policy. It's about trying to convince your base to show up. So, Susan, first to you. Do you think that's what this was all about last night for Kamala?
Absolutely. This is Idiocracy Part 2. And it was all, it's only been about hyping her. They spent months saying that she wasn't electable, that she was a joke. And then they decided, I don't consider her literally a pig, but it's, the phrase, put lipstick on a pig. Hype her up, have all the news media who are all captured say, she's fabulous. And now she's the second coming. And it is Idiocracy.
Angie, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, it is the election for the coalitions, right? Because we knew this with Joe Biden. No one was going to come out for Joe Biden ever. They were not exciting. He couldn't get people out to the polls. So what are they using? They're using two tactics that they already used in 2020: abortion and anti-Trump. They know that works. It energizes the base. Trump, unfortunately, gave it to their base yesterday. He was the Trump that Democrats hated. He was the, egomaniac, the I, and then he threw in some cats and dogs in there. That was everything that the left, it's like red meat to the left, right? To hear those things. Like, yeah, I know he's a bad guy. And unfortunately, he fell for it. I wish he would have elevated, but part 2, hopefully that's coming. Hopefully he's going to be on Fox or something else. I mean,
She's
Newsmax
afraid to go on
should be
Fox.
hosting this.
No,
Where's
she's
Newsmax?
afraid.
I know.
She's afraid to go on those.
Tell me
Never,
about it.
Ever be on those.
Ed, if you're listening, take the hint from Angie just saying. Ed,
All right.
Ed, by the way, Ed,
needs
this is
another
Ed's
one.
show.
Hi, Ed.
This is
She won't go.
Yeah, hey Ed. Ed's watching us right now, just saying he's always looking for his reason to fire us. Just like he's ready to go. So
I thought I was going to give him one yesterday, so I don't know. So that's
by all accounts, you did well. Apparently, my spy said you guys were very credible, and it was a good show. So and anytime Paul Stone's on, Paul, come on, Paul's a great guy. So
Paul's awesome. I'm getting his back on next Tuesday. Oh, wait!
Yeah,
I got a quick note for you guys about
All right, go
Dr.
ahead.
Corsi. Dr. Corsi is going to come on next week, but he did. Ohio has now that, as you know, Ohio opened the investigation into the voter algorithm issue. Ohio. Now it's been found.
Ohio.
The code was found. So he's going back to Ohio, and they do suspect suspicious activity. So Dr. Corsi is going to highlight us on that. He talks about it in his in today's edition of the Truth Central, which will be out in a couple hours. So
I just want to note that real quick. So people don't understand how technology has insinuated itself into our lives in ways we don't fully understand. There are people like me back in the 90s who are trying to figure out how do we, and it's in my retirement bio in Congress, how do we weaponize technology? Now, we did it as a service of trying to figure out how to get inside the command and control of the bad guys. The Democrats, apparently, who were aware of all this, took it and turned it on us. So I feel bad about the fact that I helped develop a lot of this stuff. I'm not a tech. I'm not the guy that wrote the code. I'm saying I'm the guy who sat down with the guys, figure out how do we use this in a way to create chaos and mayhem. I never thought that would be turned back against us. So I think that's something we all need to be aware of. But secondly, this election is something we need to get ahead of. And so for both of you, again, last night, they kept talking about, you lost all your lawsuits. Like, no, he didn't. Trump correctly said they never got standing. If you don't have standing, you're not going to have the actual facts. So first to you, Susan, do you think that was affected the way he said? It's like, no, I didn't lose. They wouldn't hear it. And do you think that the people were listening to that at all? Because he was right, but I don't know if people heard it.
I know he was right. You know he was right. And most of the people watching did not know what standing was. And he didn't say it in layman's
terms. That's a good point. That's a good point.
That is a really good point. Look, but that was all bait, right? They were gaslighting, not even gaslighting, full out lying to the American public just to trigger Trump. And he fell for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They taught her how to get under his skin. And I could listen to her and go, he'll address this and this and this, and he'll ignore the rest because these are the things that affected his ego.
Yes. Yeah. And they knew how to do that. And this is where I'm angry with his team for not preparing him for that. How could you not? I mean, and that's why I want a round 2, because he needs to redeem himself after all this. I need him to step it up again. He's allowed one free pass. He did so well this entire election. He gets one night where he's not on his game. And I think that's, to me, I'm not going to do the spin room stuff. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, it was the world against Trump.
That's why I didn't watch any coverage.
Yeah. No. I still think I still think there was 3 against 1 there. I do think his performance was mediocre at best, but the bar was set high for him, low for her. So it looks like she comes out with the win. This was, by all accounts, it was likely a draw, if anything else.
Yeah,
it was a draw. They both had their moments.
But he could have. So, and then he closed by saying several times, he said it during the debate, she could go down right now. He didn't do it well. This is where, again, he could have done the showman thing. It's like, just tell her, hey, just go get a taxi, go down and see, go back to Washington, sit down with Joe, do this now. He should have said, but you won't. You will never do it. He didn't. He said it, but he didn't say it with clarity. I mean, right?
Yes, and he could have put it so on her and then said, okay,
exactly.
So she really means what she's saying. We'll all wake up tomorrow and things will be different. That border will be closed.
Good
The
idea.
economy will be on the mend. He
Yeah.
absolutely, and I thought that was brilliant. I had never thought about that. Go to the White House,
Go now.
wake up Sloppy Joe, and do this. If you really want to do it, you'll do it.
That's right.
Well,
That
see,
was a
that's
good
the thing.
moment.
But he should have done it again at the end. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
the debate is now finished. She's now outlined the fact that apparently she was a passenger in her own movie. That's a bad mixing metaphor. She was a passenger in their clown car of freedom. She's acting like she's not the driver. And right now, she said he should have looked over. It says there's nothing this minute stopping Vice President Harris from going to Washington tomorrow and setting everything she's talking about in motion. But she won't do it. Why? Because she's lying to you. She lied to you today. She'll lie to you tomorrow. She'll say what, and I quoted Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders said it. She will do anything she has to be elected. Don't let her lie to you. That's why I would have ended it.
Oh,
Yeah.
why couldn't
watched
you be in his ear?
There you go.
It's not like he doesn't know where I'm at. Just saying, Ed.
Yeah, give Tony a call, Trump. He'll help you
Yeah.
out there. Tony
I'm
and
gonna
Tulsi,
buy
Who are you
him.
going to
they'll
call?
both help.
Who are you
That's
going to
right.
call?
That's right.
I'm gonna buy him some
Kamala
pearl
Busters.
earrings.
All right,
Hey,
but
that's
there
right.
are some. But
Hey,
keep in mind, I watch these
Look,
things.
Susan,
closely.
see what Angie sent me?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
check
love
that out.
Isn't that
it.
cool?
I don't even know
Yeah.
if those are your campaign colors. I just thought,
No,
yeah.
Camouflage
well, it's better. Tim Walz wears that camouflage hat where he says, "I have no penis." But this is better because it does. If you look closely on his hat, it says, It's he has a Latin phrase for no penis on his face.
Oh boy.
So
Here's
not
another
that there's anything wrong not having a penis. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares these days.
here's a key
Where's my
takeaway.
agent?
But here's the thing. Performance was lackluster, but there are a lot of key takeaways from this, and I believe that we did go over today that were very important. That you could say could skew this towards a Trump win if anybody was really paying attention. One key takeaway was Kamala Harris bragging, patting herself on the back about the endorsement of neocons.
Oh,
No,
I
she
know.
patted
That was
herself.
like, really?
She said,
Cheney's the
and
coolest.
McCain and Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney endorsed me. Dick Cheney was public enemy number one, the guy that shoots people in the face while hunting. He had an 18% approval rating at one point. I mean, even Biden couldn't sniff an approval rating that low.
Right.
But
So Angie, what
she's
do you think?
bragging about the neocons.
Yeah. So Angie, what do you think? Because Trump didn't hit the fact that Putin, Cheney, and all these other left,
He did do Putin.
They all endorse Kamala. How come he didn't bring it up? What do you think?
It was a great soundbite. You know what? When someone's digging their own grave, let them continue. He did not need to interrupt that because
That's
he
true.
knows that's a clip that Chris is going to use all day long today to and it's going to be revived. Look, did it win her any brownie points with her own base? No, they hate these guys. So why would she even bother saying it? It's
They'll
just,
ignore it. They'll
and
ignore it.
he did hit back and said Putin endorsed Harris.
Yes.
And it was a dig, but I don't know. I wonder if most people watching it, and I love to see the numbers of people who actually watched the debate last night. I wonder if, how they're feeling today. We haven't seen any early polls, right? We haven't seen whether or not anyone has jumped up.
I purposely didn't look. I didn't look.
I was researching it this morning, but I think it's too early. But usually they do like after debate polls, right? Late night.
CNN did one.
Okay.
CNN did one that had a virtual, what was it, an almost 2-to-1 margin of their viewers that said Kamala Harris won the debate. But of course, these are CNN viewers who don't have to get up to work in the next day, and they can answer the phone calls and everything else and take the notes with them. So I believe that's kind of skewed towards the Harris voter anyway. Having said that, my question to all of you, and I believe Tony's thinking about this as well, I want to know from you, Susan and Tony, Angie, do you think that this particular debate moved the needle in any way? I'm not talking about the base, but I'm talking about the undecided or maybe he's our guy or maybe she's our girl. Those types.
Yeah, I do. I think that there are people that are not committed, but they have heard enough that they have mild cases of Trump derangement syndrome. They know the orange man is bad, And anything that confirms that to them will seal the deal. That's what concerns me. And her base doesn't know who Dick Cheney is. If anything, he's just the dad of Liz.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, these, I'm sorry to say this, but these are low information voters.
Yeah.
And all they care about, it, as I've said, is the hype. And, what color was her pantsuit? And did she look presidential?
Interesting. So let me follow it up, Susan, because I was actually doing show prep yesterday when I was running around doing errands, picking up more signs for my campaign and everything. I was listening to NPR. And NPR, for anybody who has any belief that it's National Public Radio, it's not. It's National Progressive Radio, because they had a guy who was a progressive on there talking about what Harris had to do. And he made that point, Susan. It's all about sentiment. She has to stay away from policy. She has to make people feel good that something new is coming. It's all about joy. He actually said this. This is what they said they were looking for on the left. Angie, what do you think about that?
Yeah, we heard a lot of forward, we can't go backwards kind of stuff. What do I think? I think that it did move the dial, but not in the right direction. So what happened was yesterday, liberals who were scared to support Joe Biden all of a sudden found a reason to love Kamala Harris, because she didn't look crazy. Right? I mean, to us, she did, but she was okay enough to support. So much so that Taylor Swift came out immediately afterwards and endorsed Kamala Harris. That moves numbers. I know we don't like to hear it, but
it's need to be practical.
13-year-olds can't vote anyway.
Well, I would think that, but okay, yes. But her base is also like middle-aged women, right? And the moms. Right?
They're probably already in a tank for her anyway.
Did you catch the reason?
What?
But there's also an underlying reason for Taylor to support Kamala?
I think it's, honestly, I believe that, Kamala Harris gave a good enough performance that allowed people to say, I can support her. Because prior to last night, people didn't know who she was. Her policies were cut and paste from Joe Biden's policy platform. Like, no one really had heard from her, really, except for one or two, very scripted interviews. But for her to supposedly go off script and be able to challenge Trump, and I think that's what it was. It was that she could take on Trump. And I will tell you, there's, we're all in TV, radio, film here, right? Did we ever see anything but a side profile of Kamala Harris? No. And she was also positioned to look at the same height as Trump.
Right.
I mean, the whole entire
we talk
thing
about
was,
that. Yeah.
Can she take on Trump? Last night, she convinced me she is going to be a good challenger. Convinced me.
Yeah. Well, with the help of the networks and the framing.
Oh, yeah. Her suit. Clearly. Yeah. So, by the way, did you hear that Taylor Swift? Black Power suit. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Can you say that? Can you say? I can't say that.
That's a style. That's a style.
I'll get in trouble. I'll get in trouble if I say anything.
Yes.
Well, no. I was going to say Taylor Swift's new song. I knew your trouble when you took mittens from my porch. It's going to be a great song.
Well, and she also apparently has said that she supports Kamala because of Tim, because Tim supports gender affirming surgeries.
Of course.
Now, I doubt that she really even knows that what he's for is taking children away from their parents in order to do that. And if she had kids, this would strike her in a completely different way.
So, I agree. So, but I want you to hit that real quick. Susan, tell us, there's Tinkerbell himself, Tinkerbell Tim. So, but Susan, I want you to talk about your project with Cherie real quick, because that has to do with transgender, and just give us a little update on what you guys are doing on that, if you could.
Well, we're just trying to get it greenlit. It's a documentary about what I consider to be a very...
No,
I'm talking to Chris.
A very unusual and especially intriguing case of someone with who is trans.
Chris, could you put that up? Could you put that up on the screen? The project, Susan's project.
Oh yes, of course I got that. Of course. Oh, we'll keep
Yeah.
going. I'm working
Keep
on
going,
it right
Susan,
now.
sorry.
Amy,
Yeah.
Amy always felt,
Amy.
like she was in the wrong,
Right.
the wrong body, and she decided to become male. She became Matt, and then she started to feel. She realized that it's never going to be complete, and she was never told. She was never informed of how much would go into this, how painful surgeries are. She's decided not to do bottom surgery because they are never successful, ever. It's got a 0% success rate. The hormones that he has to take are, they're expensive. You can have bad reactions to some. He's from England. The American version is completely different. And so it was never, ever properly explained to him. So he starts feeling really bad about it and thinks, okay, I'm going to go back to nature. And what he discovered was the initial reason for feeling the way he did. He is one of those rare people who actually does have a completely different testosterone level. So nature did make him really a hermaphrodite. And he went off the hormones and suffered through that. And then found out that naturally, genetically, he's more male than female. And when you meet him, yeah, being a guy suits him. Well, now then he starts getting all kinds of pressure from the other side. So this poor thing has been bullied from both sides.
That's horrible.
And the point is, it should never have been anybody else's decision.
Right.
It should
Well,
have
that's the
been
thing.
his or her decision, with the doctors only providing the truth about what
Well, that's
was
my problem
intended.
with Kamala and Tim Tinkerbell Walsh. Well, it's like it should be a political issue. It should be a personal issue that
Oh,
you seek
absolutely.
guidance. This is what I hate about the left. They politicize stuff like this, and I don't. It's like I don't care who you want to be, who you want to be with. Be with those. Be the person you want to be, and be with the people who you love. I don't care. But the idea of
Right.
someone then making you a victim, trying to use your victimhood to gain political power, is what's really wrong here. Just saying.
Yeah, it is. And he's such a lovely, lovely person.
Yeah.
You can't spend 5 minutes with him without going, why did they do this to you? So we would love for his story to get out there. And mostly my feeling is I want to see, because I know a couple of kids who are very confused and would like the surgery, but their parents won't let them get it. Now, if Newsom has his way, they'll be taken away, but they're actually 18 now, so they could make the decision.
Make their own decision.
He's still on the fence, thank God, because it's irreversible. I would like kids like that to see what he's gone through and to really consider the decision. We have such a free society now. You can be, Nora, who goes by Charles and wears pants, and it's really okay. You don't have to mutilate yourself.
No, I know. Look at Tony Blinken. You think that guy was a guy. He's not.
Exactly.
He pretends to be a guy pretty well. But anyway,
the words right out of my mouth.
But Susan, thank you. And then, and by the way, a quick point, and there's, Cherie is part of your partner in this. And, Susan, Cherie and I have spoken. I think, Chris, you were there for that conversation. Cherie was, well, she's kind of, free-spirited.
Yes.
She always wanted to be David Bowie as a kid,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes, we talked about that.
And so if she was doing that now, they'd say, oh, you want to be a boy. Let's get you into transgender stuff. And Cherie's the first say that would have been the wrong decision for me. Right, Susan?
Right. My son, always wanted to be a girl for Halloween and couldn't wait to grow boobs. He would have been put on medication.
Huh. Well, I do want to add, speaking of Cherie Curry, she is doing a special fundraiser for the efforts to put together Leaving Amy and distribute it.
That's great.
She's raffling off an original chainsaw bear done by her, signed as well. So check it out. Go to the website.
And she is an enormously accomplished artist. Just saying.
Right.
I mean,
Leaving
oh man, she has got talent. I mean, and as we all know, she's just completed another tour, another rock and roll tour. She's coming up 65 and she's still out there rocking.
She's doing another one soon too.
Yes, she is. And she'll be at the Whiskey on
Whiskey A Go-Go. We're going to be there.
Right.
All of us. Yeah, Susan, I was just going back and forth. I guess Bob's going to be there too. Bob Hayes is coming.
Oh,
Nice.
You're going to be there. We're talking about Marie coming over from Vegas, so it'll be
yeah,
a
because
huge
it's their
event. It'll be
birthday
fun.
coming up,
Yeah.
or in November.
Whiskey a Go Go. By the way, did you know I was geezing with Chris on that. Did you know that they recorded one of my favorite songs there? Johnny Rivers recorded Secret Agent Man at Whiskey a Go Go, the one we all listened to.
I did not know that. I have
Yeah.
a friend who calls himself Secret Asian Man, but that's a different story. My son has played at the Whiskey, and
Nice.
that's a moment of pride for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a legendary spot, and I might add, Cherie is a huge patriot, and
Yes.
just did a walk away video.
She'll be
And
on with
she-
us
Oh, yeah.
Monday. Yeah, she'll be
Right.
on with
Yeah.
us
We
Monday
want to
talk
promote
about
that. Yeah, we're
Yes.
going to promote that.
And
So,
she's
and by the way,
encouraged me to do a walk with video,
Yeah.
which I may do today.
so, but by the way, but not to get off the topic, did you know that Nancy Pelosi has a place called Vodka a No Go in San Francisco?
Oh.
So just saying.
I thought that was just
So-
a husband.
Well,
I thought it was a
What?
drag bar.
No, they get hammered
What?
together. That's what happens.
Hey-oh.
Oh, that was good.
All
That one
right.
never gets old.
That was good. See, he
I
didn't
should
go to
stand in
Ed
for Trump
McMahon
during these
sidekick
debates.
school for nothing. That's right. He didn't go to Ed
Heyo.
McMahon school for sidekicks for nothing. All right,
Getting
well,
that
man, we
keyboard
got to
out.
wrap it up. This has been a great show, man. Susan, thank you for being up early to talk about leaving Amy and all the stuff you're doing. We always love having you, and man, anytime you want to come back. Oh, we didn't even get to my conversation with Robert Spencer. We had no time to get to that, but we want to do that soon. So we had
Yes.
Robert Spencer on over the weekend on my other show.
He'll be coming on
Hot
this
Tech.
soon. Yeah.
He'll be coming on again, but we need to
He's
talk
a
about
pleasure.
radical Islam and what's going on in the Middle East. But we'll do that another show because I know Patriots. They always complain we don't have enough time, and we don't. We only have an hour, and we got to get
We're in
everything in.
overtime. Yes.
Yeah, our slave driver Ed Henry always like limits us. Yes, we love cats, and we don't like. We're not
She just
into
waited.
Haitian jerk.
She knew you were wrapping it up, so she wanted to.
That's
say-
right. No,
Oh.
so we don't want. Just say no to Haitian jerk cats. Just saying. I
Or
don't think
geese
that's a
for
good
that
idea.
matter.
They're
Or geese.
haram.
That's right. And Angie, thank you for being on. Thank you again for my
Thank
cool hat.
Love it.
By,
That
by,
is
the-
awesome.
by the way, our friend who's running for Congress, Lori Buckout,
Lori
my
Buckout.
neighbor, she's got a hat that says she's got more balls than Tim Walz, which I think is probably true. Yeah,
Well, I believe you're right
I think
about
it's
that.
true.
Yeah.
I
I
think
want
it's
that
true.
hat.
Then she
All
has
around.
I'll-
less tampons, more balls.
Hey-oh, that's twice in a row, Chris. Man, all this is paying off. All this
That's
Ed
right.
McMahon training's great.
That's right.
great.
It was intense training, by the way.
That's intense. It's like, he was able to cross the Ventura Freeway with 3 bottles of vodka in his gut and didn't get hit by a car. It's amazing. So
That's right. And not only that, with that big check in my hand too.
that's a big check in his hand. That's right. All right. Well, I gotta do a read here because we have a sponsor, Paul, and I gotta give him credit. But anyway, Susan, Angie, thanks for being here. It was a great
Thank you,
analysis.
guys.
Great to meet you, Angie.
Very pragmatic.
Good
Thank
to
you.
meet you, Susan. Have a great morning, everyone.
Let's
Wake up,
enjoy this again.
Patriots.
All right. Yes,
right.
wake up. Get up. It's time to go. Isn't there, it's like a lyric out of a Pink Floyd song, right? So, all right, let me do the read.
I don't
Here we
remember
go.
most of those lyrics.
Yes.
Is it okay if
All
I
right.
stay? Should I log off?
No.
Oh, you can
You're
stay.
gonna
You
get rid
can
of
stay.
me.
No, we love you, Susan. That's great. Sorry. So let me do the read. So anyway, Paul Stone, Colonial Metals Group has something you need: gold and silver. Right now, at this critical time in our economic and commercial history, things are chaotic. One of the things, Chris, I don't know if you guys talked about it yesterday, but things like bricks, all the
We
things
spent a lot
going
of
on.
times on. We
with,
spent a lot of time on bricks yesterday. Yes.
They're trying to devalue the fiat currency known as the U.S. dollar. This has been ongoing for a while. Donald Trump talked about it last night a little bit, as a matter of fact, in the debate. They didn't hit it as hard as I would have liked him to, because obviously they weren't going into the policy as much as we all appreciate who follow and pay attention.
Would
But
have been nice.
we do recommend that you go check this out. Ed Henry Show viewers, go check out Ed Henry. The link to go to, you see it at the bottom of the screen, colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry. So go check it out. 800-805-4034. Paul Stone is the CEO. He's always on our show. He's here on Tuesdays. I had to go actually be at social services because I'm a member of the committee who manages the social services for Chowan County here. So I had to go do that. But I hear Chris and the team did a great job. So anyway, go check out Paul Stone. Call his team, 800-805-4034. Tell them that we sent you, right? Again, go to the website, Colonial Metals Group, silver, gold. It's been around since the beginning of civilization. If it was good enough for the Egyptians, if it's good enough for Romans, it's good enough for you. Right, Chris?
Exactly. And we were talking about this bricks and everything yesterday, but another point we made was discussing silver. The idea is a lot of people have come to or have emailed or talked about this as well. Gold has been rising in value, but it's still expensive for a lot of people. There are other ways to invest, but what about silver? Silver is a better price point at times. And yes, the proportion, the percentage wise, it's going to rise and it's going to do very well. So that's something to look into as well. And yes, Colonial Metals Group can talk to you about silver.
So if civilization ever ends, which we hope it doesn't, just saying, you're going to have a hard time breaking a gold bullion. I mean, it's good to have, but you need silver because silver is going to be kind of more usable. Does that make sense? Like it's more usable.
What Paul said this yesterday. Paul said silver buys the bread and the gold buys the bakery.
That's right. There you go. And that's a great comparison. I'm glad he put it that way. So anyway, but I think that's good. So Colonial Metals Group, check them out. You will not go wrong. You will go right, and you'll thank us. So anyway, Susan, by the way, again, thank you for being up early.
Yes.
We know it's really early, but
we know
one of the things. Well, now that we're here in overtime, this is the bonus part of the show. So what do you think about Kennedy endorsing Trump? Because I know we talked about a lot of the Kennedy stuff before Kennedy endorsed him. So what do you think?
Well, if our country and indeed our world wasn't in such a mess, and I was a lower information voter, Kennedy would have been my guy. I love his stance on vaccines. He's not an anti-vaxxer. He just would like the research to be done that was never done. And people are putting all this stuff in their kids and don't know that, a lot of them, they've saved lives, but our kids are getting so many shots now that it's not like when we got vaccinated. No. And yet with all the chemicals in the food, and I'm very concerned about our farmers. In addition to China and Bill Gates buying up all of our farmland, we have a depleted topsoil that, it's not just that there's a lot of liberal in me. There's kind of a bit of a country girl in me. Every spring.
Susan, I've got a degree in environmental studies because, surprise, I am concerned about the environment.
Yes.
I live on an active farm. People don't know this. We have basically a development which is situated environmentally, by the way, within active farms, right across from where I'm looking right now. 200 yards from my window is a peanut field. They're growing peanuts.
Oh.
Over there is sorghum. So I live literally on farmland, and I understand your point. But that's the thing. And let me hit this real quick. The left has such hypocrisy about this. They talk about this, but they do nothing to actually improve it. It's to them, it's just again another political point they try to make badly. And I think those who actually have concerns like you and I, we want to actually see things protected. So what do you think? I mean, on that.
Well, okay, they give us global warming, or now it's climate change, which does not care at all about the environment. It has nothing to do with the facts. It has everything to do with what the real agenda is, which is akin to communism. You call it communism, you kind of sound dorky, but it is. It's a form of collectivism. Maybe globalism is a better word. I like to call it Islamism because Islam factors in. But this whole buying up farmland, there's never been a totalitarian takeover that they didn't use starvation. And that's what that's about. It's not because Bill Gates is going to grow food better. All of these things regarding our food chain are either to line the pockets of the corporations, which now run our government, or to create chaos for us. Please, people, start looking around. The reason for opening the border is not just to get votes. It's to create chaos and mayhem so that we'll accept a totalitarian government.
So I think that's what we have to be. And I'd like to have you come back, and maybe we'll try to. Chris, could you work on trying to schedule Susan and Robert together? Because I think that it would be a great discussion.
Yes,
I know I
will
couldn't
do
make
that.
it. It was my fault. It was my fault. I got tied up doing something last time, but we should do it soon.
Susan,
by the way,
we're gonna
Susan.
do this.
Yeah. So by the way, one other thing real quick, because we talk about Hollywood all the time. Do you think that there'd be a possibility of us pitching to some folks in Hollywood a remake of Petticoat Junction where Jerry Nadler plays Uncle Joe, and they have Hooterville, and they have like AOC playing one of the Hooter girls? Would that be something? Would that be something worth watching?
You know, yeah, they're really into reboots because it's all DEI hires.
I know, so I'm saying, Jerry. Think about Jerry Nadler as Uncle Joe, right, Chris?
And it's a vehicle for him.
He's moving kind of slow at the junction.
Well, I would go that, but I think I should submit this to you. They should do a remake of Police Academy, and Jerry Nadler can actually can play Officer Sweet Chuck. That would be perfect.
That's right. So there's a rumor, Susan, that they're going to hire the entire Biden administration to redo Lost in Space because they don't have to act. Just saying.
Oh. Who would play Dr. Smith?
Justin Trudeau.
Chris, think about who would you want?
Well, Justin Trudeau was always a Dr. Smith of politics for me, but I would say Dr. Smith would be perfect. He has to be cowardly. He has to insult people all the time, and he has to be disingenuous. Yeah,
I guess it could be Joe Biden then.
That would work, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
Well,
Joe Biden in any role.
Ew, bubble-headed booby.
Oh, so Susan, have you talked to Billy Mummy about him? Because apparently they were real friends.
Oh,
not that I want to go down that. I know Billy.
Yes.
I know Billy. I love Billy. If Billy and I ever talk about politics,
I know. I've heard.
It wouldn't be pretty. It would not be pretty. When I was 3 years old, he was at our house, and I yelled at him. I was all starstruck, but he broke the lock on our playhouse.
That's a great story.
Something you don't see.
That's great. Oh my!
I'll never argue with him again.
Oh my!
He's gonna tear your playhouse down, as Paul Young.
That's right. There's a song about that. That's right.
That's right.
He's really a great guy. I mean, I think he's totally misguided.
No, I follow him. I mean, we're all friends on Facebook.
I've interviewed him a few times.
Yeah,
I've interviewed him a couple of times, and the man's brilliant. In fact, he's a great musician. He has
he's fabulous.
Well, he was in America.
He's a great dad too.
Oh, I got better for you. He was in another. He was not only was he in America and has a great solo career. He was in one of the greatest bands that I have ever witnessed in the history of videos. And I'm going to pull it up for you if you remember this one. Barnes and Barnes. Remember Barnes and Barnes? You don't remember Barnes and Barnes?
Yes, I do.
Like
fish heads.
Did they do
fish
like
heads.
Fish heads? Yeah, fish heads. Eat them up. Yum.
Billy Mummy was part of that.
Some good songs.
Yes.
Really good.
Fish
Billy
heads.
Mummy was
Fish
part of that.
heads. Yeah, there. Is that him?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a great.
Fish heads, eat them up, yum.
That's a great song.
Conceptual video.
Billy Mummy
That's
was
the new.
part
That's
of
the
that.
theme for the New World Order. We'll eat fish heads and instincts. That's what we do.
And
So anyway, but by the way, Susan, I don't know if you knew. So Billy Mummy was in one of my favorite shows, Babylon 5, and of course, my dear friend Jerry Doyle starred in that too. So, Jerry and I were very close friends before he passed, and I thought it was a great move, a great show ahead of its time, Babylon 5, that is. So Billy was in that as well. So and Jerry would have.
A man of many talents.
Yeah. Well, he was great as Lanier in that, Jerry played Garibaldi.
He's been bad at anything he's ever done.
Yeah. Well, politics.
Politics.
Yeah. Well, we all have our, shortcomings. But speaking of shortcomings,
and it's Hollywood. I'm sorry, but if you don't walk the walk, most people don't even consider going astray from the narrative.
I know. Well, God bless you for doing it. You and Cherie, you've been our spirit animals, our Hollywood spirit animals, Susan. We always look to you for. No, we do, and I love both of you. I mean, you guys have been amazing, and I think it's good to have. You guys have the courage of your convictions. You act and you actually do walk your own walk. So thank you for doing that. And we love
walk
you.
alone, but we
So you
do.
walk,
And
well, you
and
walk
when you
with a,
know you're on the right side of the
yeah,
truth.
you walk with a clear conscience, and that's important too.
Yes.
Walk. Was it walk?
Walk this way.
Walk.
Walk it
No.
like a
I'm
magician.
trying to think the Teddy Roosevelt thing.
Oh,
Walk softly, but
carry a big
walk softly, but carry a big cat. Right?
Yes. Yes. One that you can swing.
That's right.
Right,
All
right.
right, we gotta go, man.
yes.
We're 50. We're gonna get really fired. It's like, oh my God, we're like 15 minutes over. 15 minutes overtime. Well, Susan, again, thank you for being up early with us, and
Thank you.
we definitely want to have you and Robert back. Robert,
I'd
Spencer.
love it.
It will be done.
Yeah. So, all right. So, well, we're done. That's it till Monday, right? We're
Okay.
off the hook.
Monday, Cherie's on with us.
Cherie, we'll see Cherie, and we'll talk more about leaving Amy and
Absolutely.
Cherie's upcoming projects. I still wanted to do some music. We should do some live versions of stuff like "Live and Let Die" and things like that at her parties. So,
Or Mama
Hotel
will
California.
piano.
Susan, we should do a parody of Hotel California using
Nice.
lyrics. that
Hey,
we
I'll
come up
play
with.
bass.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So we'll see you soon. All right. Well, thanks, folks. Thanks, patrons, for being here. We'll see you next week.